This AskReddit user asks, "What do you remember hating the most being a child?" What I remember most was some adults not treating me like a human being just because I was a child. I try so hard with my own kids to step back and treat them as fellow humans and not just children. A 4-year-old needs their own space and gets frustrated and gets angry in exactly the same way I do. They just don't have the vocabulary and awareness to express it. My job is to help them express it, validate it, and teach them how to deal with it. Not just to tell them to stop whining. I was on my pediatrics rotation in medical school and saw a little kiddo having a meltdown in the waiting room. The mom was getting flustered and frustrated. Then one of the PED's residents was walking through the waiting room. He got down on one knee and instead of scalding the child like the mother was, he asked the little kiddo what was wrong. The child said he forgot his favorite toy at home and was afraid something would happen to it. Instead of telling the kid that his toy was safe and that he needs to stop crying, the resident asked his mom if anyone was home. The dad was. The resident asked the mom if she could text the dad and ask if the toy was safe. Less than 5 minutes went by when the dad sent a picture with the toy and all was well. The little boy was all sunshine and rainbows after that. All it took was just empathizing with a child and putting yourself in the mindset of a 4-year-old. To us it seems so trivial that he left his toy at home. But to him that toy is his whole world. He has spent thousands of hours with it and probably has a special bond. I can't imagine how it would feel to just have that dismissed by the parent when they tell you to just calm down and be quiet. Quote, "I wished someone did this for me. I remember the first time someone took my side during an argument as when I was 13 years old. I felt I was always wrong by default. I wish I had a parent like you growing up. Other children were taking advantage of me. Getting chastised for falling down accidentally and getting scrapes. Ended up hiding one because of fear and got a permanent scar from it not healing properly. Being so sad that I wanted to kill myself. But being too young to know how suicide works. Instead I cried under a tree and begged God to make me dead. Mom hug. We had a neighbor and her sister over. The younger sibling was hitting me with a belt. Which sounds bad but it was very soft. Didn't hurt at all and just made a funny noise. Of course it made me mad so I grabbed the belt and slapped her with it. Had a massive welt on her back. The mother showed me the next day and I felt so bad I was gonna commit suicide by shoving a pencil through my chest. Prob wouldn't have worked anyway. A child's remorse is greater than most adults. Children can't understand what their emotions are or what they mean. I think it's less that they don't understand their emotions. While that is true, and more so that they have much less to compare it to. To them that guilt is the most guilt they've ever felt. That sadness is the most sad they've ever been. It carries more gravity because they have so little else that they've experienced. People thinking I'm always lying. No one believing what I'd say as a child really FD me up in the long run. Family gatherings. Had a large extended family as an Indian and there would gatherings and functions almost every week. Coming of age. Housewarming. Marriage. First birthdays called for gatherings between 100–2,000 people. You had to dress up and meet people that apparently cleaned your snot as a baby expecting you to remember that they did so. It was horrid. Kinda miss it now though. A bunch of people you don't care about talking about things you don't care about and expecting you to sit there and pretend to care about it. It's either that or a million people asking how tall you are now and commenting on how much you've grown since the last time they saw you, which, yeah, that's how growing up works. Yeah, I miss gatherings too, and it's sad to me to realize that's a time I can never return to. There was something about seeing our house bustling with older people you don't know. All chatting, eating and laughing in small groups throughout. You might not know them and are nervous when they first arrive, but they are family friends so you eventually trust them. Their young kids would be playing with toys and spinning each other with an office chair. Then the older kids would be playing upstairs on the TV because one of them brought a PS1. I never knew it as a kid, but I enjoyed the company of strangers to me. Worst part of it was they started to filter out. The house slowly becomes more quiet and you try looking for a stranger or older kid that was kind to you, but they have already left. My dad stopped doing those gatherings when I was around 12 and I always asked my mom why, but she never gave me a full answer, though I suspect why as an adult now. I still have those vivid memories when I was a kid. Why, man? Don't leave us hanging. Santa Claus. I threatened to shoot him down with a missile launcher. Ho ho homicide. Bank left. Screamed Santa as he yanked the reins to the side. A projectile screamed past the sleigh and flew above his head. There was a few seconds pause. Then, boom. Trails of color blossomed behind them. It was a firework. God knows where that kid had got it from, but at least it wasn't the missile launcher he'd threatened within his letter. Rudolph. Cover up that DN nose. He shouted. Santa sighed. Time to go. If that kid fires another, I'll have no choice. He'll have to go on the naughty list. We'll come back later when he's asleep. Let's do Buckingham Palace for now. He checked the names on the nice list. Charles. Anne. Edward. That's strange. He said, confused. No, Andrew. What's he been up to? Quote. Santa. Rudolph. We've been painted. Quote. Having to go to church. Being told no without any explanation. That's just going to make me do it to find out myself. Because I said so. Furthermore, the do as I say, not as I do style of parenting does not work. You must emulate good behavior. It's watch and learn parenting that is most successful. This. So much. My dad does this and it pisses me off so much. Like, you're the parent. You are supposed to be setting the example. Getting my hair combed after bathing. Half an hour of ouchies. It's because a lot of people still don't know how to brush hair. You need to start at the bottom, otherwise you're pushing tangles at the top of the head right into the other tangles. Too short to ride the amusement park rides. I was shorter than average and I'm still short. But at least I can ride the rides now. Everything being about what's best for my future and ignoring the importance of a child's quality of life and mental health. The lack of freedom. I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things that I wanted to. I relate to this. But my lack of freedom wasn't because my parents had a lot of strict rules or anything. It was just that we lived in the middle of buttfuck nowhere and my mom hated driving, so I felt guilty asking her to take me places. Everybody making fun of me for being skinny. FG pieces of ST. Teachers. Relatives. Even friends. My teachers would make fun of my skinny ass arms in front of the whole class. I didn't know how to get bigger at that time. Always got shitty advice. Some people are just naturally skinny. There's nothing you can do about it. Course. Now that I'm an adult, I started working out and feel more confident now than before. The fact that no one ever liked me unless it was convenient for them. I was nothing but a burden for everyone around me. I was constantly abused emotionally at home and abused emotionally and physically at school. No one cared about me. I'm sorry. I had a similar experience as a child. I hope you have people who care in your life now. Having to spend weekends either babysitting my twin brother as early as 6 or doing hard work around the house, cabin, and not having fun like most kids do. My family has a cabin that I've never fished, swam or boated much, if any, at. I've never played in a play area at a fast food place because I had to sit at the table and make sure no one tampered with or threw away our food while my brother played. Basically, I spent most of my childhood being the responsible adult and missed out on a lot of kid stuff. The beatings when dad was drunk. The beatings when dad was sober. Child abuse is horrible and traumatizing. I hope you guys are better now. The beatings. Being told no without explanation. Don't drink, smoke, break, touch that. Why? Just don't. If your child asks you why and you can't give them an honest or legitimate answer, then they are going to do exactly what you told them not to. Yes. Kids are building their brain. They will find out why one way or another. When people would say, "You'll understand when you're older." Quote. The cruelty of other kids. +1 for that, mate. Sorry you experienced it as well. It got better for me. Hopefully for you too. One of the craziest realizations I had was when I talked to my friend's mom about the bullying I was going through. She told me that she grew up with the parents of every single child who was saying and doing mean things to me. She said that their parents were never bright in school. They were lazy. And just not good people in general. She said it wasn't surprising to her that their kids grew up to be little versions of their parents. She said they were just a product of their environment. Ever since she told me that, I felt sad for them every time they bullied me. Sad that their parents never provided them with the opportunity to be better. Edit. I asked his mom what happened to the nice people from her class. And she just said they went to college, got really good jobs, and moved far away from our shitty little town. Yeah. That happened with my group of friends. We all just decided that every one of us is going to be excluded at one point or another. For absolutely no reason. It was like clockwork. Eventually the excluded kid would get let back in the group. Then we'd do it to someone else. I was so confused when it happened to me. Then I went right along and did it to another kid. I remember it so clearly. One of my friends saying, "I have no idea why we stopped hanging out with so-and-so. He's great." It was just a pointless exercise in cruelty. I don't know if hate is really the right word. But when I was really little, I was terrified of my dad. My earliest memories of him are being woken up in the middle of the night when he got home, smacked around a bit, and sent off to bed again without so much as an explanation. "You know what you did," he would say. But of course I didn't. Because why would I ask if I already knew? I put a ton of work into trying to keep him happy and not PG him off. But it didn't always work. I say hate might be the wrong word because I didn't really know better back then. I didn't start hating him until I met kids and parents that had better relationships. Which wasn't until high school. Until then, that was just how it was and I didn't really question it. Going to bed when other kids are still playing outside. Oh my god. This sucks so much. I would have to eat dinner and go to bed while my friends were still playing video games. At 11 years my bedtime was 7:30. People making fun of me. Grown-up included. This is a big one for me too. It seems like the previous generation of adults loved to tease and make fun of us. I think maybe they thought we would grow up with thick skin. It doesn't work. Along that same vein, when adults would tickle and wrestle with me until I felt scared and overwhelmed was probably my most hated thing about being a kid. I had an uncle that would pinch my nose so hard it would make my eyes water. I hated it so much. Some adults are so immature. Being beaten up by a dozen girls in primacy school at once and no one helping me. Being beaten up by my father and no one helping me. In teens specifically, grow up and be more independent. Quote, gets a job and saves to eventually move out one day. You need to come home sooner. I don't care if you have a job, I'm still your mother, father. My dad did this to me constantly in high school. It was so frustrating. It's like you want me to act like an adult but you still treat me like a kid? My parents made it very clear from when I was young that if I wanted to go to college, I would need to pay my own way. I bought my first car and paid all my insurance on it. Got my first job at 16. And yeah, paid my way through college. Still got this kinda bullshit. When you're 8 they act like they can't wait for you to be 30 and when you're 16 they act like they want you to be 8 again. Every FG year. Parents. You are lazy and only play video games all day. I had my own job when I was 12 and was barely ever home when I was your age. Me. Can I get a job? Dad. No. You have to focus on school. Me. How about over the summer? Mom. No. Summer is for spending time with your family. And this could be one of your last years to enjoy your childhood. Maybe next year. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos.